Recently, I asked my social media followers this question. Do you know the difference between helping and rescuing? And it got such a great response that I decided to record an episode. So, welcome, my friends, to this very special episode of the Bite Size Brilliance podcast. I'm your host, April Darley, and we're going to jump right in on helping versus rescuing. So, if you or someone you know is struggling right now, really stop and ask yourself, do I want to be helped or do I want to be rescued? Now, I find that a lot of my empath clients, they're so sweet and loving that sometimes they have trouble telling the difference, helping versus rescuing. And that is because these folks are hardwired to be helpers, to assist, and they don't like to see anyone struggle or suffer. And what tends to happen is they fall into this trap of rescuing instead of helping. They will pull someone out of a jam, and then that person will probably repeat the jam. And so the empath will pull them out again, and then they start to get irritated and angry. Like, why is this person doing this? Why can't they understand that what they're doing is creating a problem? Now, we're all humans and we all have ego, and empaths also have ego. So they start to get a little ruffled and they say, if you would only listen to me, you would be fine. And sometimes an empath needs to learn that people have their own lesson in life around healing versus rescuing. And sometimes we're going to learn better by making a mistake and falling flat on our faces. And when an empath rescues instead of helps, it's almost like stealing that person's life lesson from them. So, what happens? That person will make the same mistake. And if you're there to pull them out of the jam again, you have stolen the lesson again. And they need to learn what it's like to fall on their face and pick themselves back up again. And that can be painful for an empath because they don't like to see someone suffer, but that might be needed to change that person's course of their life. So that's an interesting little conundrum. But for some people, when they say they want to be helped, they really mean they want to be rescued. So, what is the difference? In rescue, think about a damsel in distress. People who want to be rescued usually want to get out of a jam as quickly as possible, and they're looking for someone to take them from A to Z very quickly so they don't have to go through the pain. They don't have to go through the steps. They don't have to take accountability or responsibility. They just want the whole thing over with. And I can see that, right? None of us like to struggle or to suffer, but it's that power piece. It's the not taking personal accountability or responsibility that is going to come back and bite that person. Because what happens is those people will do the same pattern again because they never learn the lesson. And when you're just rescued, it's almost like you're giving away your personal power. You're saying someone else can get me out of this jam. They are more powerful, and I'm going to give away everything I've got to them because I just want it to be over with. But without that accountability piece, without that responsibility piece, there is a high likelihood that you're going to repeat that behavior that got you in the jam in the first place. You see it all the time with debts and bankruptcy or even lottery winners. There is a really high percentage of lottery winners that will go back to being broke within 5 years. And why? It's because the lottery was like a rescue. If you were struggling to pay your bills and then you won $10 million, you are so happy and relaxed because your savior, the lottery money, wiped away your problems. But it didn't really. It pulled you out of the jam, pulled you out of the quicksand, and then you go back to repeating the same behaviors. Maybe it was overspending, being too generous with the money, paying for everybody's stuff. And that is why 5 years later, they're broke again. Now, let's contrast that with help. It is a sign of strength to ask another person for actual help. And it is okay to recognize that someone outside of yourself has special skills or expertise that could get you out of a jam, right? I think all of us can appreciate we would like to be out of a jam as quickly as possible. But when you're asking for help and you truly want to be helped versus rescued, you are taking ownership. You are in control of your personal power, and someone else's expertise can contribute to you becoming more powerful because you are ready, willing, and able to take the steps that resolve your problem and lead to growth. That is what a help is, right? So you can ask for it, you can allow yourself to receive it because that is a big lesson in itself, my friends. Asking for help is hard for a lot of people to do because some people have it wrapped up in their minds that it's a weakness or a vulnerability that you need help. Untrue. I'm here to tell you, none of us have gotten where we are today without someone helping us at some point in time. So we all give it and we all receive it. It's will you allow yourself to ask and will you allow yourself to receive it? And those are big life lessons that we are all here to learn. And if you are an empath or a habitual rescuer, then you might need to learn the difference between help versus rescue and develop that discernment about what is the person really looking for and is it a match? Do you want to offer that? Are they looking for help versus rescue? And to maybe create boundaries with your own behavior so that you do not rescue when someone actually needs help. So that's it, my friends. I hope you learned a lot on this episode. And if you are so called, please leave me a review. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for your time and attention today. And I hope you stay brilliant, my friends. Until next time, goodbye.